Hey guys! Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we have Elly Senpai joining us on our next episode of Sipping Lattes. Elly Senpai's been a part of the dojo longer than me, and she currently coaches in Aikido, so she's Aikido instructor. She trains in BJJ and she also does strength as well. Yeah. Do you want to tell the guys a little bit about your story, how you got started?
Sure. So I've been training in Aikido for about 13 years now and joined the dojo probably about a month after it opened.
Wow.
So I was pretty unfit and had just had a baby. My daughter was 1 at the time, and I had always wanted to do a martial art, and the dojo opened up just around the corner from me. So that was my motivation. I thought, right, it's really now or never. And started training, and I can remember it was right at the beginning of the dojo, so sometimes there were not that many people, and I can a funny story was I think in probably about my 2nd or 3rd class, it felt like I did some weapons training with Peter Sensei, and I was the only other student, and I can remember him saying to me, okay, so now do this, but just don't hit me in the head. And so, of course, like I immediately hit him in the head with a bucket. Not too hard. But it was, So, probably not the best of
That
beginnings.
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Everyone holding pads or like new people, I'm like, don't hit me, and then
Yeah.
straight away.
Yeah. It's like you can't not do it after they've said don't hit me.
So how old were you when you started Aikido? You and your mom at the time.
Yeah, so I think I had just turned 36.
Wow.
So it's quite old compared
Not
to lots
old.
of people at the dojo. No, look, it was I'd always been really interested in martial arts. I'd always really loved it, and had always, like I said, really wanted to try and learn a martial art. I didn't really know anything about Aikido, and I feel like I just lucked out incredibly into not only having sensei as a teacher, but also the style just has been really
So you
fantastic.
haven't done any martial arts at all?
No,
Wow.
little tiny bit of Tai Chi
Yeah.
for a couple of weeks, but otherwise
Wow.
not at all. I'd done a bit of boxercise, as it was called, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I'd done strength kind of work, but not really. Well, actually, so in my first year of training, after about 6 months, I fell pregnant again.
Oh wow.
And so that first year, the second part of the year, I trained while I was pregnant. So I think I just got my orange belt when I was 14 weeks pregnant, and then so I stayed on my orange belt through the rest of the pregnancy.
How was that? How was training?
Actually,
being pregnant?
it was good. I think it worked really well in terms of the way Aikido is structured. In that, so I worked as both the shite and uke through it until I got too big to fall. I think it was quite useful in that, because I kept training. I think it meant that I was very careful about doing ukemi and really had to work on the form of it so that I didn't injure myself.
Yes.
And I think it also helped that it was my second pregnancy, and I wasn't quite so nervous about it. I knew kind of what your body can manage.
That's amazing though.
And and I think also because it was still quite early days at the dojo, I often, particularly when I got bigger, I often partnered sensei, and I also often only then would do like the shite part if it was something where I had to fall onto the ground.
Yeah.
But I do remember sensei saying to me, it'll really help because you'll have a low centre of gravity. So I trained up until I was about 7 months pregnant.
Wow.
And also had to be a bit careful at that point because, you know, you get, when you're pregnant, you get the hormone that makes all your ligaments and your muscles really stretchy.
Yeah.
And so I was getting quite a lot of sort of groin pain and stuff where you kind of, because your pelvis starts to sort of all get stretchy and loosen up, and so that I was getting a bit uncomfortable. And also I was like out here and...
Do you doji fit?
Yes, but just.
You tie the belt around the belly.
Yeah, so, but I did come back, I actually only had about 3 months off training. I had a second cesarean and then came back.
Yeah, wow.
I think Lenny was at 9 weeks old. So, but I made sure, you know, I worked with a physio to make sure that my sort of core muscles were like that part was sort of strong. Yeah, so, and so that was also interesting, like training in that time post pregnancy and having a small child, because you
have that balance.
It was really good to be able to get away but also just even though sometimes I could only train maybe once or twice a week, just continuing to train, even, and realizing that even if it wasn't the most effective training, like I still
keeping active,
keeping going, and that at some point it would resonate in my brain.
I think a lot of people do find it hard to balance, especially when you have like really young kids, and balance training, work and family time, all of that together. But you did a really good job.
Yeah, I think for that it's been, I feel like my Aikido training has really been the kind of story of the tortoise rather than the hare. Like
it's okay, mine too.
I think you know, I could early on. I knew that because of the commitments of my family, I've always like trained on really set days, and I think early on, I'm sure you joined the dojo, and we used to train in streams, and we used to
Monday,
do
Wednesday,
like
Friday,
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday,
Saturday. Yep.
Exactly. So I think I got stuck in that pattern early on, and I think that that's really helpful. And I think that even though I wish that I could train every night, it's been quite good to have that really set.
Yeah. I think having a schedule and
sticking to that And I still tend to stick to it pretty closely. Like very occasionally, I'll things will get in the way, but by and large, I just like.
Yeah, you do. You're really consistent.
And my family know, like, those nights are my nights, and that's where I am, and and my kids are quite happy. You know, most of the time, knowing, like, if I say, right, I'm off to Aikido or whatever.
Yeah. How did you find kind of going from training one martial art to multiple martial arts?
Yeah, that's been interesting, and also a challenge in terms of managing time a little bit, because obviously I'd like to devote a lot of time to the second. So I started doing the BJJ because we had started doing it in class a bit, and really enjoyed it. But I also felt that my particular, like in Aikido, I really love the patterns and the repetition, and I felt that I needed to enhance my ability to react to the unpredictability of BJJ and other situations, and so I thought it would be a good complement for me in terms of pushing me out of my comfort zone kind of training I liked. And so I still so what I do now is just train both on the same night, which is hard.
One after the other.
One after the other, which sometimes is hard, because now both classes are an hour and a half. It's quite a long
It takes you longer time away from home as well.
That's right. But it's been quite good, although I probably don't. In a normal week, I'd probably maybe do 4 Aikido classes and 3 BJJ, and sometimes it'll drop down, but
it's still good.
Probably
it's a really good training schedule.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like interesting insights that I had And I was thinking this morning, it's been, I think one of the big challenges for me has been starting training as an older person. And often, particularly in BJJ, like most of the team are pretty young. And so managing my kind of older body physically is
She's not old, everyone.
No, but it is. Like,
if you compare yourself to, I guess, 5-year-olds, then
yeah. No, but I mean, I think the reality is, as a, so it may horrify you to know that I'm actually going to turn 50 this year.
What?
Yeah. Yes, I am turning 50 this year.
Amazing.
So the reality is, I don't bounce back like a 22-year-old boy. Like that's what I mean about being older.
Yeah.
And so, and I can look at someone like Stefan Sensei who, you know, but who also is an incredible kind of physical specimen. It's hard to kind of, you know, compare myself to him. But I need to be just much more careful and strategic about making sure I recover enough and that I,
taking care of yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think it's, but I also do think it's really important that, you know, that people can see, oh, you can continue training martial arts until you're, you know, you don't have to stop while you're a young person. You won't hit like 35 and be too old to learn something new.
I hear that so much. Everyone always says, oh, I'm too old to do martial arts, or I'm getting too old.
And I think I've been quite fortunate in, I mean, I've had some injuries that have been not martial arts related.
Yeah.
So I haven't really ever had like soft tissue injuries. I obviously had the elbow surgery last December, which, you know, was a long time for me to figure out what was wrong.
Yeah.
But has been like a relatively quick now recovery time. And so my body feels pretty good, but I do know that I need to, you know, I do like a warm up.
Yes.
And I really focus on my mobility. And actually during the restrictions, I've gone more back into yoga a bit more.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I've gone back into yoga a bit more, even though we'd been doing quite a lot of yoga work in Aikido lately. So that's been really good. I've noticed what a difference that makes.
Yeah, so just understanding your body and knowing where your limits are and how to take care of yourself, that's kind of helped you maintain your physical capabilities.
Yeah, and it's been good. Like I've been working on my flexibility and mobility during the restrictions. I've been and it's interesting to see, even at 49, I can still, like, I've made quite significant improvements in my flexibility over the last couple of months. Like, so you can change, you can still improve, and and I do think it's important for people to see, you know, this is what it is to train as an older person, that you know.
And you do hope that you want to train martial arts until, like, forever, personally, anyway.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. It's
more just like adapting and understanding where your body's at, and making the necessary changes, I guess, or taking care of yourself more. I feel like the older you get, you take care of yourself more.
That's
rather
right.
Than less. Like, instead of just ignoring the signs, or just, you know, not stretching and just keep like pushing yourself. Yeah, it's good to kind of take note and be more aware of yourself.
Yeah, I think that's right. And, you know, I certainly do, I think, still work pretty hard at, you know, I do strength
you're really
stuff,
consistent with strength
and
and
I've
mobility.
been, and I try and run a bit just to keep kind of cardio stuff up, although a bit random at running was.
You've done Muay Thai and stuff though.
Yeah.
So
and
she's
I
done more
really,
than just Aikido and BJJ. She's done like boxing, Muay Thai, everything really.
And
Judo.
I would love to do all of that. I mean, I would love to do it all. I often look at, like, I look at you and I get really jealous sometimes, thinking, oh, I wish I could just, you know, like, I could do a bit of everything, but it's hard
the same for
juggling
me too.
work and
like, I can't fit it all in. That's why I've kind of just narrowed it down to like 2 things. There's no time to do like judo and BJJ, get really good at that, and then fight as well.
I think also the struggle for me has been quite a lot around, like in a weird way, Aikido has been quite a lot of physical therapy for my mental state.
Yes.
And I was thinking, I still, like even on the mat, like I still always feel like I'm a white belt, and that's really good on the one hand, because I feel like it always makes me hungry. Like I'm always trying, always really working to improve. I never go into class thinking like I've nailed that, or I can just cruise through this. Like I'm always like, I really want to do this better or work on this part. And even if it might be, I might spend like a whole year or, you know, a long period of time trying to fix something that, fix is the wrong word, like improve or develop something further. On the negative side, like I think that also, I don't recognise what I can do enough. And I was thinking about, so I was very unsporty as a teen.
Me too.
And so when I was about 15, I can remember playing. Had gone away with a friend and all of her family, lots of cousins, and we were playing volleyball, and one of the guys said to me, I really, gave me this fantastic backhanded compliment. He said, I really love, like you always throw so much like energy and you're really into it, but you're so terrible at volleyball. And I remember being like absolutely devastated, because I actually thought I was not doing too badly. And so, but I think looking back, weirdly, I think that actually had quite a profound impact on me, because I can remember when I was training for my black belt.
It's really cute, but kind of sad.
It was when I was training for my black belt, and I was partnered with Matt, and who had been, you know, a very long-term training partner with me, really from, you know, orange belt onwards. And I remember saying to him, I'm really sorry that you've got me as your partner to do all this black belt training with, because, you know, actually
she's a really, really good partner.
And he said to me, like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Like, he said, you fall, like you fall so well, why wouldn't I want you as my partner? And it sort of like, it wasn't until then when I went, oh, holy, you know, moly, I'm like, here I am thinking I'm really terrible, I'm lumbering someone else with my totally uncoordinated efforts. And so that actually was, you know, a bit of a turnaround and a bit of a sort of realisation of my own kind of terrible negative mindset. Yeah. And so actually when I went for my knee downgrading, I actually spent quite a lot of time watching this, in particular this, because I visualise quite a lot.
Yeah, awesome.
And I often visualise around people at the dojo. I think about who I think have great form or a particular feeling. So like I'll remember how someone looks to me when they do a certain technique or a thing, and try and keep that picture in my mind. Maybe I'm not sure I can always pull it off, but that's sort of like I do think about that.
Hello, you made a friend, Mati. So cute.
Yeah, so I visualise quite a bit. So like I might think about like your kind of relaxed posture or someone's kind of extension, or I obviously think about what sensei looks like a lot and the kind of feeling that it creates. But when I was doing my knee down, I spent a lot of time watching this particular, it's like a video of like these young dancers doing like a sort of dance routine. But what I was really looking at was like their confidence and their total like commitment, like really owning it and being really sure of themselves. And I was trying to trying to embody that incredible sort of confidence and surety of themselves, because that's the bit that I still think I really lack.
I think that's something that Aikido training's given me as well, like commitment to kind of the spirit of training, I guess. Because when you're training, just give it everything, whether it's right or wrong, or if you're not feeling good, you know, when you say us, like always like strong. And yeah, that's a really important lesson to kind of take into all different martial arts as well.
Yeah.
Or in life.
Because I think I look at you and I remember, you know, training with you when you just joined the dojo, and I can think about like I can remember I don't know if it was at one of the early seminars but anyway, just like when I felt your Aikido, like sometimes you would really nail it and then other times it would be less strong, but now it just feels really strong all the time.
We had a good chat about that actually.
Yeah.
It was Takina Sensei's seminar. And I was your partner at the seminar.
Yes, that's
had
right.
a great time. And you're really helpful. Like Elly Senpai's always been someone that's really welcoming, and she's always taking care of everyone. Like she really doesn't, up to this day, I'm sure everyone would say the same thing. Like, she looks out for everyone, and especially like when I first moved to Melbourne, like she was the most welcoming, and she made me feel so comfortable. When I was really shy, and I just couldn't like make out everything as well, like the culture shock, and also
you were so young.
Yeah, it's just like
it's
oh
really
my god,
big
so much
step for someone.
And then Elly Senpai made me feel really comfortable, and especially after Takina Sensei seminar, I felt like, oh yeah, like I feel like I belong. I think it was pretty early on when I first joined, and I didn't really have any training partners, so like you know, like your close group of training friends yet. And also I wasn't really consistent at dojo. Like getting to the dojo is really hard, like a big weekly thing for me to do. But yeah, then after the seminar, I was like, oh, you know, I think like I feel so much more comfortable now. Yeah, and also the camps, like the Gashiku camps.
Yeah. Camps are good. I know, and I mean, I think the challenge more recently has been sort of moving into, you know, instructing at times, and I look at you and I can see like your progression as an instructor, and so that's so wonderful to see. It's and like I'd be interested to know like how you. I think it's always a challenge, like balancing feeling like you're still learning, but then knowing that you have
totally
insights that you can impart.
Yeah, in terms of teaching, it's something. It's hard to get over that mindset where I feel like that I could be doing better. Yeah. So I talk to Sensei about this all the time, and he's always kind of saying like, for where you are, you can always help that that person who's starting out, so you don't kind of second guess yourself. You've come this far, so you have to kind of trust it. If you're willing to help someone and you're willing to teach, you can be useful in that sense. So yeah, I try and tell myself that when I'm teaching.
Yeah, that's right. And you know you have a different reality and a different experience, I guess. So your insights into different techniques are different because your body works differently. So
and also, I've done this for such a long time, really. Like you've done this for 13 years now, and it would be for me like 18 years, in total. So like we've kind of journeyed a little bit further, I guess, than someone that's just starting out.
That's right. And it's I mean, I think it's good to maybe sometimes that being self-aware that you don't have all of the answers is also useful.
Yeah, I'm always so worried. I'm like, I don't have all the answers.
But you, I think it is just remembering that you have valid insights into different techniques. And I think the other thing too is recognizing that different people learn differently.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So actually I gave a private session a while ago for you and asked the person, how do you, what's better? Do you want me to talk to you about it, or do you want to rep it out, or do you just want to show it? Because sometimes you can talk about it, but until you feel it a certain way, and I know some people say, look, you can talk, but it doesn't absorb in my brain. I've got to just repeat it or feel it or whatever. So
that's interesting. That's true. And I think we teach the way that we learn as well. So however you like learning, you kind of try and communicate the message across that way. That's interesting. That's true.
So it is kind of, I think that's what's always been so fantastic about Sensei, is that he really switches it round. So sometimes he'll talk, and sometimes he'll say no talking, let's just practice, or just move, or just feel it. And even this period during the restrictions, has been really fascinating in terms of like getting insight into that dynamic movement and that
Just being aware of
feeling.
yourself.
Yeah, exploring that I can't think of how to describe it. It's not like a fanatical kind of, but it is like just going like just totally into the moment and trying to.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we got a lot of that kind of training in Gashiku as well. Yeah, I think it's really fundamental training for everyone. Otherwise, you can get kind of stuck in your head a lot.
That's right. Yeah. I think it'll. It's been a a good form of training for this slightly introspective time.
That's true.
And I think even for me, after 13 years, this short period's given me quite a bit of insight. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the dojo and seeing actually what it translates to when I'm actually working with a partner.
Yeah.
Again.
Like in my head, I'm like, I'm doing so well, and then I'm like, I know when I go back and I partner someone, it's probably not going to be as going as well in my head as I shadow it out.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Let's finish with, what are you looking forward to, like in your martial arts training? Like 13 years and going strong?
So I got my blue belt in BJJ late last year, in October last year.
Huge achievement.
That did feel like it was a long time.
It's a big achievement.
It's like 4 years to get to that point. And then now we've obviously had a break. So I've been working, on solo stuff. And thanks, Kevin, with being
thank you,
such a
Kevin.
good teacher. So I'm looking forward to getting back on the mats and working hard to get to the next.
Hey, good, how are you?
To get to the next, to keep progressing with BJJ.
Yeah.
And in Aikido, so I think for that I'm really looking forward to being back and working with a partner to see if some of this dynamic mobility stuff has made its way into my brain and body from this time training at home. And I think, really keen to explore that. I also feel that Sensei's been telling me for probably about 3 years now to let go, and like finally I might have done it. So
I really admire this about Elly Senpai. She's so open-minded. Like she takes training, like she takes it really seriously, but she's also open to learning everything and like trying everything. She's amazing, basically.
Thank you. I don't feel amazing most of the time. But I think just keeping on really.
There's always something to learn, and
and I would really love to do a bit of boxing stuff. I'm sort of like feeling like I might do a few of the Facebook recordings and things at home just to try and keep up with that. Maybe not when I can't make it into the dojo.
It's good to kind of keep your body moving in different ways as well, because I think every martial art focuses on specific movements, or they kind of favor different kind of movements. So it's interesting when you mix it all up. I think you get a much more balanced body in terms of you're using your body in different ways. Otherwise you can kind of get stiff. Like when I try and do BJJ now, it feels very stiff. Like it's not very natural.
Actually, that's interesting, because I was talking to one of the other BJJ people this week and saying that I think some of the dynamic movement work that we've been doing in Aikido would have actually been really beneficial to the BJJ team, because even though often in BJJ it's a much kind of tighter grapple, actually you need to really, it's ideal if you can stay relaxed, but also that sort of being able to move quickly and swiftly is really important. And last week I think Coach Luke had posted an analysis of the rhythm in boxing, and like that was really fascinating, just looking at the dynamic, again, that dynamic movement and the change up and how you use your body to do that. I mean, I think you can get so much benefit from the from the cross training. And
like Aikido is very fluid. It's not very like percussive in terms of like rhythm, and it's not aggressive as well. And then you have something like Muay Thai where it's a bit more like aggressive and a bit more sharp. I would say the movement is not so fluid.
That's right.
But there is still fluidity in the high level like Muay Thai practitioners, and you kind of see that kind of join
that
together in
joins,
the end.
exactly. That's
yeah, so
right.
that's like what you're trying to get in the end, I guess, in all the martial arts, where you have like a really good balance of everything. But I guess just the starting point is a bit different. That's all. But I guess the end point is kind of similar.
That's right. And I think understanding that sort of push, pull, give and take is really fundamental
and
to
that
lots
you
of
get
things,
from
I think.
Aikido. Like that's a really that's something I'm really lucky that I trained Aikido, I guess. Just learning how to be a good uke and receiving as well. That kind of makes it easier to learn techniques or to feel where your partner is in space.
Yeah, and I think that's been the difficult thing moving to BJJ, is that because in Aikido you often, what you do is sort of based on your uke's attack, or that for a long time in BJJ I would kind of wait for the other person to do something that I would then respond to, rather than going, actually my really good skill is this, and so I want to work to that position from the beginning, or like I need to, I don't want to get stuck.
In Muay Thai, just kind of like waiting and like trying to pick timing or pick rhythm instead of kind of initiating the attack.
So that's interesting. That
but it's good for me to kind of realize it too, just to try and find that balance again, like in between both of them.
I think for a long time I've been, it's like, how do you start in BJJ? Like when you're starting the role, like what do I want to do? And meanwhile Stefan Sensei's locked my wrist 4 times already while I'm thinking, where do I grab him?
I always ask that question to Chris. I think every time I go, I'm like, what do I do first? Like the first thing that I do. He's like, what are you talking about? Like just do your stuff. And I'm like, so do I jab or do I kick? Like which one? And he's just looking at me like, what is wrong with you?
I'm so glad that happens to you.
Every fight I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna jab, touch gloves and then jab. And then I just forget what happens anyway.
I mean, I've only done the one sort of competition in BJJ, and it was good because I went in thinking, right, I don't want to die, I just want to do it and get it over and done with. And
the same mentality, let's fight. I just don't want to die. That's it.
And I was really pleased because I didn't, once I got on the mats it was fine, I didn't panic, and although hideously looking at the video I feel like I look like I'm really slow and and I actually got into a really good position, and then I was thinking, now I'm here, I should really try this, and sort of did it but not very well and got armbarred. But it's sort of
okay, it's all part of it.
That's right. I mean, it's
fun.
sort of it's really it's challenging in the fight situation to know what you should.
But just like how we found Aikido at the start probably challenging, and this is kind of just the next challenge in front of us. But not too much expectations, I guess. Just kind of go and have fun, do your best.
I've seen you fight and you're amazing.
It still feels nerve-wracking.
But the nerves are good, it means you want to do well.
Yes, it matters.
That's what I tell my daughter when she says,
Aww.
it means that you want to do well. It's good.
Okay, Machi. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me and letting me ramble on.
Elly Senpai is really interesting to listen to and be around as well, if you've had the opportunity to hang out with her. Or like myself, kind of been from day one until now, just around her. She's like a dojo mom to everyone in many ways. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you at the mats.